Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. You're listening to a new The National Blast podcast with Keenan Skelly. Join Keenan and guests as they blast you to a place that is certainly not boring, yet still giving you highlights from areas in cyber where key policies and legislation are needed, exist, but aren't enforced, or no one is even talking about it. Knowledge is power. Now, more than ever.
Hey, everybody, it's Keenan Skelly, and this is the latest episode of the National Blast. I've got a great guest here today, and I'm not going to waste any time. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, please go ahead.
My name's Mark Lance. I am responsible for digital forensics, incident response, and threat intelligence at GuidePoint Security.
Oh, you know I love threat intelligence. You know I love it. What are the bad guys up to?
Same thing, trying to make money.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's age old.
And they're doing it well. They continue to do it well. I do think we've seen some interesting kind of, specifically against the U.S., some interesting slowdowns from a ransomware perspective. Which has been
Tell me more. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, it's definitely still present. They're still out there. They're making a ton of money. There's certain groups that are actually certainly more active than they've been. But I feel like year over year, like we have seen against the U.S., a lot of what we're doing right now is outside of the U.S. And against the U.S., we're just seeing lower volume than we've traditionally seen in the past. And just speaking with like people who might be competitive to us or but our friends in the industry, I think they're seeing it across the board. So
that's really interesting in terms of, everything that's going on geopolitically right now. I mean, the Ukraine and Russia and, we as Americans tend to piss people off on a daily. So are you talking about all kinds of threats, or is that, everything but nation state threat actors, or how do you guys look at that?
Yeah, so I mean, we definitely categorize things as like criminal threats, hacktivist threats, nation state sponsored, or like APT related actors. And I would say that like on the more criminal side is where we're probably seeing the slowdown. It could be attributed to a wide variety of things. We can speculate. We know that a lot of those groups are Eastern European based. And we know that, there's probably affiliations between them and certain governments.
Probably maybe.
And so the thing is like, well, one, they could be leveraging those resources in other ways, shapes, and forms right now. But two, I also think you don't want to be the one that starts a war. So like, say you are, a threat group, say you attack a U.S. company and you bring down some sort of critical infrastructure.
You don't want to be that guy.
No, exactly. Now all of a sudden they're pointing the finger at you and they're like, oh, so you're the one who just caused a declaration of war and started offensive attacks against
nukes. We have nukes now, thanks.
Yeah,
that was your fault.
Yeah. So I think that's like one of the big things is like they were probably being super cautious right now.
And what's funny, a couple of months ago, we saw this little breakdown with Conti and some of the other threat groups really getting on their pedestals of, am I really a dirtbag or am I not a dirtbag? And trying to work that out internally. What do you think about that? Like,
it's so interesting to me because I mean, it's just like anywhere else. It's like you have this, but I think it was cool to see like the inner turmoil of these, what seem to be well-functioning organizations. It's like
just laid bare in the chat. Right?
I know. It's like, but it's also just like watching them be like, hey, we fully support Russia, and then it's like, come back a couple hours later. Just kidding. Actually, we fully support anybody other than the warmongers in the West. And then it's like, then you can see that people, because of affiliations in their local regions, are like, you know what? Let's start leaking out this information because we don't support what they were saying. So it's like, now you're saying internal conflicts because it is distributed across, warring countries as well.
Absolutely.
It's interesting.
It's super fascinating. And I think it gives like insight into a lot of the other groups that are operating too, who are obviously multinational, working with different governments, working with different non-governments. And there's some guy in there that's like, you better just shut up. I don't care. I don't care what your ideology is. Do you want to get paid?
Yeah.
Do you want to get paid?
I mean, I think it's just like somebody here having a corporate incident. They're like, all right, keep your damn mouth shut and don't talk about this. Say nothing, because you're going to go out there and run your mouth and we're like, we're not affiliated with that person. Don't listen to anything they're saying.
Right.
Like they're having those same kind of PR nightmares that even
that's
organizations
so true.
do.
And I like that kind of spin on it, because remember, like, I think it was like 6 months ago, everybody was coming out talking about how these ransomware organizations are now more like corporate entities.
Yeah.
That they're much more structured. Of course, they're going to have PR problems.
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to be drama, right?
I think it comes with the game, because I mean they've got the sections of their websites that are up and like, hey, for press and news, please hit us up. So it's like, well, guess what else comes along with that? That's right. Not just fun. There's problems as well. Yeah, this is the whole money, more problems thing.
So money. Let's talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
Crypto is in chaos right now. It's like utter chaos.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's still obviously a good monetary way for them to make money and exchange currency. And so I think we'll continue to see crypto used. There's no question about that. I think it's just like everybody's saying, right now it's on a colossal downturn. I think what's crazy is to think about some of the values and what they had historically. Like, think about if you had, 3,000 Bitcoin previously, and now what that's worth. Like, they have lost a large portion of what they probably had budgeted. But again, that comes with the territory of using something that's so volatile to back your entire organization.
And I thought it was great. I saw this great meme out in the wild that had like tech bros on one side and hackers on the other side about the crash. And they're all like, no. Like, that's exactly what it is. Criminals are always going to use, the easiest thing that they can get their hands on for them. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean anything about security, which is really funny because they're hacky things. So they should know it's not necessarily super stable.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great way to transact without too much overhead and being able to chase the money. So, I mean, that's why I think we'll continue to see it used. I mean, we've seen them try to shut down brokerages and things like that. We were actually having a conversation earlier with somebody. It's like, they're always going to find a way to do it. Yep. Like, especially whether that's from the victim side. If you take down their organization operationally and they don't have access to data, even if you're working with an OFAC sanctioned group, but if you need that to sustain your business, you're going to find a way to do it. Yeah. And similarly with the threat actors, they're going to find a way to get paid. They're going to find a way to make it.
Talk to me more about the OFAC. Because we've had some dealings with that too, with Shadow White, and it's an interesting space that I don't think a lot of people really understand. Can you just give an overview of how that actually works?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, the Department of the Treasury has the list of OFAC sanctioned groups that say, by funding any of these groups or working with any of these groups, you're essentially helping fund terrorism and criminal activities. So just like there are certain countries we're not allowed to transact with, these groups are known to be affiliated with those countries or terrorist organizations or something else. So they're basically saying, if you're hit by ransomware and the group that has performed that, ransomware operation is one of these groups, you can't pay them. Now, interestingly though,
right.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not allowed to. Okay, cool. Well, I need my business to run. But interestingly enough, though, too, if you read through that, it actually says that it doesn't hold the emphasis of law or something. It's all civil penalties and fines. So it's like you will
break out the lawyers.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to try to hit you with civil penalties, but I don't know. It also says in there, it's like, if you let us know early enough, maybe we're not going to smack your hand as hard. Right. So it's just, and so when somebody is hit with ransomware now, if you are potentially looking or making a payment, they're going to run the wallet where you are transferring that currency to. They're going to run that wallet against the OFAC sanctions list. And if for some reason it came up, you're not supposed to pay them. And a lot of brokerages will actually, as soon as they see what group even started it, they're like, no, we're not going to pay them. So, but somebody's going to.
Yeah. This is where it gets interesting for companies, cybersecurity companies that are doing ransomware negotiations, right? Mm-hmm. Because then you have to start thinking about it as a negotiator, what you're willing to do for that company mm-hmm. in this situation. So that adds another layer of complexity to, how are these things getting done? People want their businesses to run, so they're going to pay one way or the other. As a cybersecurity company, do you help them? Do you not help them? Do you say OFAC is the line?
Yeah.
And peace out.
Yeah. I think that there's different companies like kind of similarly who take different approaches, because like we worked with a lot of global organizations that are like, we got hit with ransomware. I don't give a damn what the impact is. We have a hard line in paying ransomware. We're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you've got other companies who are like, we're going to help you do whatever you have to do to get back online. So I think it's almost, maybe it's like an organization's culture or, the way that they personally feel about it that will help determine that. And to your point, I think even some of the brokerages are like, nope, absolutely not. We're not going to deal with that. And then you've got some other maybe a little bit more sketchy ones who are like, we'll take that.
Sure. But then there's also the cybersecurity companies, and I find this, I happen to know just a little bit about this. Yeah. What I find interesting is that when people are looking for a ransomware negotiator, if they've had an incident and they want to reach out to somebody, there's like this gaggle of security companies and people who are approved by cyber insurance and by law firms and by this and this and this. Well, what does that mean if like a law firm approves of you? Because law firms are sketchy already. And so like, if the lawyer thinks you're a good idea, is that still a good idea? I don't know.
That's definitely an area that gets super interesting as well, because when you're going to do incident response work, you've got a couple barriers to get through. Like, one of the first questions we ask is like, okay, are you going through insurance? Because a lot of insurance carriers will say, okay, well, for incident response services, if you want it to be covered by insurance, you can only use these specific firms.
Right.
Which is okay. Well, so you try to get on this list of firms, but then they bring in their preferred external counsel as well. And their external counsel is like, well, we actually only want to deal with and use these specific set of firms. So the insurance carriers and counsels sometimes are making the decisions on who's going to, get all of the IR work.
Yep.
And there's been multiple instances where if you're not involved in a panel or if you're not a preferred, IR service provider to counsel, they're going to be like, well, thank you for what you've done, even though you've been helping out for the last 2 days. We're bringing in somebody else. And so I think that there's obviously benefit of using external legal counsel because they can help you with the disclosure requirements and notifications and potential liability and everything else. But should insurance and the legal companies be the only ones making the decision on who's an appropriate incident response company?
Exactly.
They're not necessarily always the most technical. It depends what firm you work with. So that can always vary.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see, though, now that cyber insurance companies are starting to get the crack of the whip and say, no, we're not covering this. We're not covering that. Like, you've had 3 incidents in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
You're done. I think that's going to help that process a little bit and weeding out some of the BS, but I don't know. We'll see.
And I get some of it too, because I think historically you had a lot of service providers who are probably like, oh, they've got insurance. We're just going to bill a ton. We're going to charge a ton. And so this is an opportunity to make money. They weren't necessarily being the most moral or ethical when they're doing their services. But again, is it appropriate for the insurance companies to say, okay, well, only these companies are going to get all the business?
Yeah.
But it's with the insurance companies, to your point, they've been bleeding cash for the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, because at first 10 years ago, it's like people started getting cyber insurance policies. Within the last 5-6 years, everybody got one. But then now we know the threat actors specifically target insured companies because
they know they're going to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. If you're paying out of pocket, you might not have the money. But if your insurance is paying it and you got a policy for it, they sure as hell are. So it's like target the insured companies. I think their policies were super loose up front, where it was like minimal checks and balances going in. Like, hey, you want a policy for this amount? Okay, cool. But now that they're having to pay out on all those policies, that's where we're hearing now. Like, all of our clients are like, our costs went up 5x this year.
Yep.
And not only to get that, we had to go through such a more rigorous process just to even get the insurance.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole episode, by the way, on this for the listeners that I did with a gentleman from Cyber, and I can't think of his name right now, but totally interesting in terms of data and how cyber insurance is so different from traditional insurance, where there's so much data out there where these kinds of things for hundreds of years can be tracked and trends can be sort of tracked. But for cybersecurity, just kind of like throwing things at them and saying, well, this could be the problem, or this could be the problem, or I don't know, it could be this too. So I can't even imagine as an insurer having to come up with that ideology or that systematic understanding of the data of cybersecurity.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say it's new because hell, we've been doing this for a long time, but it's like, there are certain things that have been introduced like cyber insurance that, the first cyber insurance policies, they were created probably over 20 years ago, I believe. But again, we're still learning because the threats are evolving. Now they're targeting insured companies. They're getting paid a ton. They're, leveraging extortion as well as the operational impacts. And then now potentially even going to DDoS people. So it's like they're evolving and changing. And so we're just continually having to evolve and learn as well throughout the process.
It's just like the old school terrorists who used to make all the IEDs, and we would come up with a fix for it and a response for it. And then they would change it up the next day because they were watching us. And then it would be something totally new. And we'd be like, shit, what do we do now?
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, well, they've moved on to the next thing. But I had a conversation with somebody the other day. It's like, we've got to not only stay ahead of that, we got to figure out a way to stay further ahead of it.
Absolutely.
Not just one step, but how can we stay multiple steps ahead? And hell, if we had that answer, we'd be rich.
Exactly. Exactly. So what are you guys doing here? What are you looking forward to this week? What's the big thing you're super excited about?
I like to get together with the people that I work with. It's always, so here's the thing. I used to work for RSA. I ran their incident response team globally for 8 years.
Slacker.
Yeah. And so, I've been here a ton, and there's a lot of value that comes out of the conference. But for me, I'll tell you the truth, I don't even attend the conference. It's a social networking event. You literally just get to get out and see people that you haven't seen in a long time, especially after COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're getting to see people again, go out, have drinks, have food. That's what I'm here for.
I've been giddy. I got here on Saturday, and I'm just giddy because I keep seeing people, and I'm like, hey, it's been forever. And this is it's wonderful. I love it. I'm excited.
I'm with you. That for me is what I'm looking for, is just seeing not only coworkers, but people I haven't seen for years, honestly, at this point. It's a big thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
We're all going to get sick too.
That's inevitable. Yep, it's going to happen.
It may not be COVID, but we're all going to get that contagion and think it's COVID and be like, oh, why did I do this to myself? All right. Thank you so much. It's great chatting to you as always. RSA is going to be very interesting this year, and I look forward to chatting with you and others after the event, after we have COVID. And see some of the other things that happened, some of the cool folks who talked to you, all that fun jazz. But this has been the latest episode of the National Blast, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the National Blast podcast with Keenan Skelly. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.